Hey guys, you're watching 8X Sector X, and in this video I'm going to be counting down the top 5 best gaming notebooks that one can buy. Links to all the laptops are going to be in the video description, so you can keep a track of up-to-date pricing. At number 5 we have the Lenovo IdeaPad Y50. It is probably the least powerful of the gaming notebooks on my list, but the reason I've included it is because it's affordable, at least for what it offers. Display options range from a 15.6-inch non-touch matte LCD display all the way up to a touch 4K IPS LCD panel. Of course, the latter is one of the reasons this laptop actually made it to the list. However, there are some compromises to be made of a display of such a high resolution. Firstly, window scaling is lackluster at best, and many programs still don't respect window scaling. So unless you dial back the resolution, which completely destroys the point of such a high resolution display, you're going to be dealing with small icons and menus. And I mean really small. Also, the GPU itself is not very powerful enough to drive games at this resolution. So if you want playable frame rates, you're going to be dialing back the resolution, which again defeats the purpose of paying extra for a 4K display. You do get touch, however, with the 4K model, but sadly a 1080p touch model isn't available. The machine weighs in at 5.3 pounds, which is reasonable for such a gaming machine. Storage options start from a 1TB SSHD, which is basically a 1TB 5400 RPM hard drive with a small 8GB SSD for caching, which improves responsiveness, all the way up to a 512GB SSD. RAM on the base configuration is 8GB, which can be upgradable to 16GB through Lenovo or by yourself because the laptop is upgradable. GPU options range from a Nvidia GeForce GTX 860M to the newly released GTX 960M. CPU options range from an Intel Core i7 4710HQ on the 860M models and 4720HQ on the 960M model, so you get a speed boost in computational performance when you buy the 960M models. You can pick this machine up for $899 for the 1080p model with the 860M and $1199 for the 4K model with the 860M, and you gotta pay extra for the 960M models with SSDs. At number 4 we have the Alienware 15. Now, Dell does have the significantly less powerful Alienware 13 and the significantly more powerful Alienware 17, so I guess there is something for everyone. However, I think most people will prefer this one as it strikes a perfect balance between gaming performance and portability. At a whopping 7.07 pounds, it's not a light machine, but I guess you can expect that considering the hardware this machine packs under the hood. You can either get it with an Intel Core i5 4210H dual-core processor for the lower-end models, which can either have the Nvidia GeForce GTX 965M with 2GB of GDDR5 VRAM or the 970M with 3GB of GDDR5 VRAM. The higher-end models come with the Intel Core i7 4710HQ processor, which is slightly slower than that of the Y50, but these models can either have the GTX 970 with 3GB of GDDR5 VRAM or the AMD Radeon R9 N295X with 4GB of VRAM or the GTX 980M also with 4GB of GDDR5 VRAM. The display options include a FHD matte display, which Dell says can output 300 nits of brightness, or the 4K display with 350 nits of brightness and a touchscreen. You can select between a 1TB 5400 RPM HDD and 128, 256 or 512GB SSDs. Also, the device can be configured with up to 8 or 16GB of 1600MHz memory. But if the top-shelf GTX 980M isn't enough to satisfy you, then there is an Alienware graphics amplifier, which in my opinion is the unique selling point of this machine. It costs an additional $179.99, however you can get it included with the machine in some bundles. You also have to pay separately for a graphics card, or you can order the amplifier with a graphics card for extra. Think about it this way, when you're up and about, the dedicated GPU inside the laptop will suffice you. But when you're in the comfort of your house and want some more horsepower, the graphics amplifier will give you desktop level performance since it uses desktop GPUs to power it. There is a 460 watt power supply, so most reference cards and many custom cards will work just fine. just make sure that the TDP listed on the graphics card is less than or equal to 460 watts. If you're looking for a $2,000 gaming laptop, then you can pick up the entry level or mid-range Alienware 15, buy the amplifier and pop in a decent graphics card and get some of the best on-desk gaming performance a laptop can offer. Prices start at $1199 for a fully configured model, going up to $2499 without the graphics amplifier. At number 3, we have the MSI GT80 Titan, a big machine both in terms of size and power. No nonsense of external graphics cards. All horsepower is within this machine itself. So the only thing it shares in common with other devices on this list is the Intel Core i7 4720HQ processor. For the graphics card, we are looking at the highest end mobile graphics card money can buy, the Nvidia GeForce GTX 980M. And not just one like the Alienware 15, MSI has actually crammed 2 of these beasts in SLI configuration. What's more, each of them has 8GB of GDDR5 VRAM. But of course, effective RAM in SLI will still be 8GB despite the fact that the total amount of memory is 16GB. But do you know what's the unique selling point of this notebook? That's its keyboard. It comes with a Steel Series keyboard, which is not uncommon for a gaming notebook, but this is no ordinary Steel Series keyboard. It's a mechanical keyboard with Cherry MX switches and a standard keycap height. That is incredible. Of course, this is a very big and heavy machine at 9.9 pounds. You're not going to be carrying a machine that weighs 9.9 pounds everywhere unless you're a weightlifter. Of course, that has to do with how big this machine is as well. It's an 18.4-inch laptop. There are computer monitors that are 18.4 inches in diagonal. Of course, they had to go for such a big screen to cram inside so many components yet make them upgradable. There are 4 RAM slots that can be upgradable for a possible 32GB of RAM. And there are 5 hard drive bays. You can have a theoretical internal storage of 5TB on this machine, or run configurations with MSI Super RAID 3, which combines 4 SSD speeds for a theoretical write speed of 1600 megabytes per second. That is fast, really fast. Not only that, MSI values the investment you put into buying this machine and will be offering an upgrade to the graphics card when Nvidia releases the successor to the GTX 980M. That's just phenomenal. The device comes with an 18.4-inch FHD matte IPS LCD display. Of course, a 4K one would have been nicer considering the jaw-dropping price of this machine. It starts off at $3,399 and it goes up from there depending on what storage and RAM configurations you select. There are however lower end models with the GTX 965M and 970M also in SLI that start for $2499, but that loses a lot of the performance you get with the 980M. This is a great machine for those that do most of their gaming on the desk but want their machine to be a little bit more portable than a desktop that they can carry around. Over at number 2, we have another MSI device, and this is the MSI GS30 Stealth. Now, since the category has existed, we've all dreamt of a gaming ultrabook. This device aims to give us that, but with a twist. So, the GS30 Stealth has an Intel Core i7 4870HQ processor. For graphics, we have the Intel Iris Pro 5200, which according to MSI delivers better performance to the Nvidia GT 830M graphics chip. Wait, what's a laptop with only integrated graphics doing on a list of best gaming laptops? Well, here's the interesting bit. Just like Alienware, MSI offers a gaming dock with support for a desktop graphics card. So, without the dock, this device is just a laptop with little graphical abilities of its own. But it's not just any ordinary laptop, it's an ultrabook. Yes, you heard me right. An ultrabook with an Intel Core i7 4870HQ and not an ultra low power ULV CPU. Just imagine a 47-watt CPU fitted in a 19.88mm chassis and weighing only 2.65 pounds. That's lighter than the MacBook Air, yet significantly more powerful. In fact, MSI claims the CPU is over 150% faster than an Ultrabook ULV CPU. Well, there's gotta be a catch, right? The only catch I can see is battery life. You might not get more than 4 hours with this machine since the CPU itself consumes so much power. The dock that comes with this device actually has 2 advantages over that of Alienware. First, it comes included at no extra cost, sans the graphics card of course. And 2, it has slots for extra hard drives, which makes perfect sense since you'll need more space than the internal SSD for your games. Speaking of the internal SSD, it can be configured in RAID 0 for really fast speeds. The display is non-touch, which is a big bummer since without the dock, this device is supposed to be an Ultrabook and Ultrabook generally have touchscreens. It's full HD though and it's matte, so it should be decent outdoors. The device can accept a maximum of 16GB of RAM and overall seems like a really great device. Prices start at $19.99, though I've seen it in some places for $18.99 without the gaming dock. This is a great machine for those looking for a really powerful Ultrabook but can put up with the battery life and lack of a touchscreen. Also, for those looking for a laptop-desktop hybrid. An Ultrabook when you want it, a desktop when you need it. That's pretty cool. That brings us to the top of our list. The device that does both gaming and even gives the MacBook Pro a run for its money when it comes to design. This is the Razer Blade 14. They claim that it is the world's lightest and thinnest 14-inch gaming laptop, which might be the headline key feature for you. The 14-inch size might be perfect for you if you think that the 15.6-inch Alienware and Y50 is too big for you and the 13.3-inch MSI GS30 Stealth is too small for you. It is just 0.66 inch thick, even thinner than the MacBook Pro. While not the thinnest out there, it's nonetheless impressive considering what Razer has been able to fit in that space. It weighs about 4.47 pounds for the touch model and 4.19 pounds for the non-touch model. Speaking of touch and non-touch, we have 2 display options on the Blade 14. One is a 14-inch matte IPS LCD display with a resolution of 1920 by 1080 with no touch, while the other is a 14-inch sharp IGZO panel with a resolution of 3200 by 1800, also known as Quad HD Plus. This model does have touch, however, unlike its Full HD counterpart. Again, as I said with the Lenovo Y50, scaling is going to be a problem and games cannot be driven smoothly at that resolution with the internal hardware of this machine. So unless you really need touch or have some extra money to burn, you're going to be better off with the Full HD model. Inside the machine is an Intel Core i7 4720HQ processor, and for graphics, all models have an Nvidia GeForce GTX 970M. So, while this is not the most powerful gaming laptop, not even the most powerful on this list, the GTX 970M is no slouch. 1080p gaming should be just fine at moderate settings. The QHD models have 16GB of RAM, with the 1080p models getting only 8GB. Design, however, is the unique selling point of this device. It's a piece of art. Also, this is further exemplified by the use of green in the Razer logo and in the backlight of this machine. It doesn't look as flashy as a gaming laptop. It is subtle and elegant. Pricing starts at $19.99 for the Full HD model, which comes with a 256GB SSD, nothing lower or nothing higher. The QHD Plus model is priced at $21.99, but only with a 128GB SSD, which can be configured up to 512 for extra. So that's about it for this video, guys. If you found it helpful, please do like, comment, share and subscribe. Let me know your feedback and suggestions for future such top 5 videos in the comments down below. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.